my mom, she adopted me, and it was just me and her. That whole first gen, she kind of said that the system of society will try to knock me down as a man of color, and she didn't want that to be the case. So she pushed me and elevated me to become my better self each and every year and month and day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dreaming Big, Working Hard. I'm David Alvarez. This is a conversation today. Exciting. We're in a new venue, a different place, Southwestern College, our community college here in southern San Diego. And we're going to be having a conversation with three students, current students, who a couple of them are former students here at the community college, and share their journey as first-generation students. Many of you know I am a first-generation student in college. I'm the youngest of six, the first one to have gone to college. It really has changed the trajectory of my life, and so I'm really excited to be able to talk to students of this new generation and the challenges that they're facing as the first in their family go to college. That is still a story these days. That is still something that we really want to invest in our students because of what you'll hear. Their success stories are like so many others that have been able to go on this journey. So it is really my honor to introduce to you three guests today, and I'll have a chance to have them introduce themselves as well. We have José, Oscar, and Diana, former students here at Southwestern College who are first generation, the first in their family to go to college. We're obviously very proud of that. We should be as a society in general, but also as people of Southern San Diego County area where we want to make sure our students can succeed. So thank you so much for listening, and here we go. So thank you all for being here. Really appreciate you. I think we'll start with you, Diana. You are now a student at UCSD, but you were a student here on this campus not long ago. And I'd love for you to tell us about your own journey. Where are you, like, in your family? How many people are in your family? You're a first generation students, but tell me about that story, and welcome.
Of course. Thank you for having us, first of all. So, yes, I think my story is a little bit, something that everybody can sort of relate to. I'm actually also a first generation immigrant. So, I was raised back in Tijuana in Mexico. And I had an interesting story when I was 15, because that was the time that I graduated from school back in Mexico. And, well, we were set on our immigrational path, I guess you could say that way. But there were also financial hardships in my family, so I kind of like took a detour, I guess you could say, a sort of hiatus in my education. And I was in the process of immigrating as well. So that was definitely, starting with an obstacle first of all. And so it took me quite some time to get back to my studies. So I spent almost a semester or almost a year as a dropout. And I was also in the process of immigrating here in this country. And once I did that, there then came the fear of, being in a new type of educational system, a new society. There was a lot of fear definitely holding me back. But at some point, I thought, I have to do this. I can't remain stagnant. So I obviously had to continue my education, mostly because it was mandatory, right? You're a high school student. But then came the following chapter, and I thought, I guess I will go to community college so I can spend more time experiencing the American educational system. This is something that I was definitely unaware of, and there were so many things that I did not know about. So I got to Southwestern College, where I found an amazing community, I would say. It definitely felt like I was back home, like I was back in Mexico. I definitely had a lot of support. I spent almost 3 years studying here in Southwestern, and I was originally a theater arts major. Then I kind of like I decided I wanted to do something else. So obviously now I'm focusing on history. And I actually graduated from here with an AA in anthropology. And I transferred to UC San Diego a year ago. That was a year ago. And then simultaneously, I decided to take another class here to get an AA in history. So I was attending both institutions at the same time. I was at Southwestern still, and I was at UC San Diego. And luckily, I also found the job here because I wanted to remain a part of this community, this very warming community.
It's really interesting that you talk about it in that way. Thank you for sharing about the community that's built at our community colleges. I was not a community college student, except for a few summers I took a course in between my semesters at my university. And so I didn't have that kind of experience, but I really come to appreciate what you're talking about, which is a community. And something you said that a lot of people are not as familiar with, community colleges, you can walk up and enroll. There's no application, there are no essays to write. Everybody in California, we have made it everybody's right to attend our community colleges, and they are at a very, very affordable rate. I think you can confer with that. So you're the first in your family to go to college. Are you one of only children in your family? What is your family makeup like?
So I actually have an older sibling, and I have another relative who also studied here, and I think currently in the process of studying. But quite frankly, in my family, we never really knew what step to take next after community college. And for that, I mean, obviously because I'm a first generation student, I didn't know what steps to take, like where would be my path next. And luckily, I had a wonderful mentorship here in this community in Southwestern. So that's why community has been incredibly important to me. And from just taking one class, I also found incredible guidance and support. And it was not just about, it was an elective course that I took, Mexican American Studies. And not only did I found my passion for history, so actually changing my major and doing something that I was passionate about and that I could excel at, and thus keeping a good GPA, by the way, but also finding incredible support from my mentors. And
I do want to talk to you about some of those support, some of those programs and those experiences you had that helped you specifically in your first generation journey. We'll get to that in a second. But now I want to introduce Oscar. Thank you so much for being here. You are now at San Francisco State.
Yeah.
And we'll hear about your experience there. But please tell me about your first generation story.
First generation in my family. I do have an older sister who's actually currently also doing the online program at San Francisco. So that gave me a little bit more of a sense of how the online system works. Originally, I wanted to go to SDSU. I did end up going into both schools. But at the end of the day, I decided to go more in the online route because a little bit more about myself. I am a double major. I'm currently majoring at San Francisco State in psychology. And then my other major that I'm currently working on is radiologist technician. I am actually planning to apply to San Diego College. And basically on the online system, honestly, for me, I'm more of an online person, to be honest. I got more used to it during COVID because in my high school, it was basically mostly online during that time. So it kind of gave me a little bit more comfort to it, I would say. And then after that, I basically just got used to it, to be honest. Right now it's barely I wouldn't say too hard, but it's kind of a little bit more stress relief because I'm actually going to be finished with my first 3 courses at San Francisco State very soon because they're all AP courses. So I'm currently right now taking 5 courses, but currently right now I'm doing 3. And then once they're done with those last 3, I'm going to do the next 2.
Great. Thank you for introducing me. I have follow-up questions for all of you actually in a second. I want to give José an opportunity to introduce yourself. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and tell us a little bit about your first generation story.
Oh man, it goes way back. I am a foster youth kid, so I do have siblings. I'm one of 3. I'm actually the oldest. I have a younger brother, younger sister, but I was adopted at 4 months into 4 years old. So my mom, she adopted me, and it was just me and her. That whole first gen, she kind of said that the system of society would try to knock me down as a man of color, and she didn't want that to be the case. So she pushed me and elevated me to become my better self each and every year and month and day. And, when it came to high school, I was, good with grades, but I was teeter-tottering on sports-wise, because I did play football and basketball. The coaches here, they recruited me to play football here, and so I was still teeter-tottering on it. But I had a lot of men successors around me as my coaches from high school, and they definitely pushed me to take that step to become the leader of the pathway. I like to call it first generation pathfinders, because I could have been the one to set the tone, to follow up on everything. So yeah, that's my story, coming from foster youth and challenges like that, mentally overcoming that, and that's where I'm here.
Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. I want to ask each of you, because this was really important for me in my journey as a first generation student. Again, youngest of 6, and nobody ever have been to college. My parents never even had a first grade education. They came from Mexico as immigrants as well. And so education, while it was valued and they cared about it and they wanted to make sure I did well in school, like you were just sharing with us, Jose, and I'm sure you're familiar with this as well. We didn't know what that meant. Like, what does it mean after high school, right? Like, what do you do? And so I want to ask you about that moment, because we've all had it as first generation students, that as you now maybe look back, like if that wouldn't have happened in my life, I may have not been a first generation student. I might have not gone to college. And for me, just to share with you my example, I think there's a lot of pieces that I can probably point to, but there are a couple of things. And I think, Jose, you work with the EOPS program here on campus. So we had an EOPS counselor on our high school campus. I went to San Diego High School, and I still remember that she was very insistent on me applying to college, because I kind of was like, why? Like, what is this about? Like, I had the questions of, can we afford it? Probably not. I'm very, very poor family. And she was insistent and persistent, and she made me fill out that application, so much so that I applied. And I somehow didn't get a fee waiver, even though we qualified, because we were very low income. And then I was just going to give up and be like, whatever, okay, then it's not for me. And then she had me do a rebuttal and an appeal, and say, I do need this financial assistance. I really couldn't afford to pay for that application. And I did that. So that was one pivotal moment when, without that, I would not have been in college. And, there were other educators who always talked about college, so they at least put it like in my mind. But that was one pivotal, critical point. So I'd like to ask you if you guys can remember a moment like that, as to how you knew that you were going to go to college and it like clicked for you, or like if it was more like me, where it was, sometimes I say, accidental, like that was not really planned that way, but thank goodness it happened that way. So Jose, you want to start? Because I know you said like your mom was really focused on it.
Yeah, my mom was very persistent about me, scholarship wise with athletics. And I did have a scholarship to North Dakota State to play, but and I always say it wasn't God's plan for me. I had a mentor named Eric Matthews, who was a part of the SDCC, like the San Diego Community Partnership Program. And he was, I would say, a man of color. And the campus I went to was Council Park, where there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me, especially in the faculty-wise or student-wise. Like, I can count the amount of students on my hand, which is crazy, because he took me under his wing. And he knew that my mom was stressing about what was next. And he sat down and helped me apply to come to Southwestern College, because he was like, there's no reason for you not to go to get this education that is free. It's a free education because of the income that I come from. And without him having to sit down with me every day after my 6th period class, he was like, we're doing the application. Like, there's no no to this.
Yeah.
And my mom was stressing on it. She's like, well, you got to get it done. You got to get it done. And I would like teeter-totter, and she was like, no, like, this needs to get done, because there's no reason for you not to go. Because then if you don't go, then you already fell in Like you succeed into what society standards have for you, but you're failing your future self. And that, like, ever since that day, once we put the application in, everybody was like, perfect. That's step one. And yeah, the story goes on from there, like after I got here. But without that moment, I wouldn't have been even stepped on Southwestern College's campus.
So, as you're sharing your story, I don't know that I've ever, in my mind, I've thought about that person for me, as I shared with you, that counselor that helped me. Eric Matthews is it?
It's funny because he's not even a counselor.
Okay.
It's sad to say this. Like, there's no disrespect to the Castle Park counselors that was there when I was there, but I didn't have a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had a counselor, but
They also had like 600 other kids, right?
your ass. I don't think our counseling office was even really used like that. Like, I didn't have a counselor to tell me, hey, like, you can go to college. We spoke about it like as a whole unit at assemblies, but a one-on-one counseling appointment I've never had until my senior year. And they were like, okay, you can graduate because you made the units. But I never sat down. He actually took me under his wing because he was just a community person on campus that helped students. And one day we ran into each other because you pass by, you finally see somebody that looked like you, and it's like, hey, like, and then we connected. And it's funny because I really appreciate him for that, because he's not even a counselor. Like, that wasn't even his job to do.
So he was a mentor.
He became a mentor after we talked, and he told me his story about him playing football and his stories of coming from the East County or East Coast. We connected, and I really appreciate him for that, because
And sorry, just again, Eric Matthews was his name?
Eric Matthews, yeah.
So shout out to Eric.
Shout out to Eric Matthews, yeah.
Well, what I wanted to say, what I was starting to say is, have you had a chance to say thank you to Eric?
We connect here and there. He has his own businesses that he runs and everything, so he'll check up on me here and there. I'll check up on him here and there and let him know, like, hey, I'm graduating soon. He's like, I knew you could, like, I knew you would, like, I'll be there. But a real sit down and talk, last time we did that was probably last summer, and we got lunch. But I don't think I underappreciate him, and I want to overappreciate him for even sitting down with me and getting me going with my mom on that.
I feel the same way about that person that helped me, right? Like, I never really got a chance to say that very specific thank you, but that speaks to people who are out there in the world who do want to see those types of changes, and that's a good thing for society. Do you have a moment, Oscar, you want to share about when it clicked for you, or like, that someone did something, or you heard someone speak, or that you knew, okay, I'm going to go to college?
Yeah, so for me, it was a little bit different because I actually went to a charter school. I actually went to Chula Vista Liberty Community Charter School, or CVLCC. I know it has a long word to it.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, so basically in that high school, that moment that it clicked for me was basically, honestly, when I started off high school, because in high school, and specifically in my school, we are assigned like home teachers. Those are the teachers that you're gonna have your 4 years, all the way to your senior year. For me, that teacher, honestly, shout out to Miss Monteru. I don't know if she's listening. So I basically had her for almost 4 years, and she basically did share her journey with me. Honestly, she kind of inspired me, I would say, to go to Southwestern College because, well, one, I recently was not originally planning to go to even college or university. Honestly, back then I just thought, like, as soon as you graduate high school, just go to work and all that sort of stuff. But it was kind of like a 50-50 with the teacher and my parents, because both my parents didn't get that chance. Back then, they honestly continued to remind me, like, please continue school. I didn't get the chance to do it back then. I want you and my sister to continue on. And after that, honestly, it kind of did click for me. I originally wanted to go to university, but I was like super worried about, tuition back then. It was a little bit more different, I would say, compared to right now. Because I honestly didn't have any knowledge of, like, financial aid. I was definitely worried about that. Because both my parents, they currently are working a lot right now. Because I did start off college, my mom did end up getting 2 jobs, and my father is currently working on his current job as well. So after that, it kind of inspired me, to be honest, to pursue a career, because honestly, every single day I come into my house, I kind of feel bad that my parents are working basically the more that they're used to. Back then it was only my father who was working, but now because I'm basically in college, my mother decided to work twice the job because she is basically providing me a lot of the tuition most of the time. And obviously right now I'm able to do it on my own now that I'm in the university. I did have to take out loans, that sort of stuff, and I was able to work 2 jobs at the current time.
Thank you for sharing that story. Yana, do you have a story? Do you remember a moment like that? Or
Yes, I do.
okay,
So first I have to say it's very interesting hearing these stories, how casual and like unexpected mentorship can turn around to be, like maybe not just from a counselor but from a professor and instructor, from a mentor around. So that's very interesting. And it's very similar to what happened to me. It actually was a moment that I would say marked me here at Southwestern because obviously I was a student at high school during COVID, so I didn't get the full high school experience, like being on campus. So after I transferred to Southwestern, I began taking classes just to digest the educational experience. And after I was taking some history courses, mostly electives, but I guess now part of my major, I guess the day that I realized it was I ran into my professor, like just walking around on campus casually, and he was talking to another one of his students. And I don't know what the conversation was about because I entered halfway through it. But I asked him a question, and they were talking about a doctorate, like PhD, pursuing a PhD. And he said that he was talking about how, oh, I think the student could have the chance to actually pursue doctorate studies, and you too, you could. And I said, this was my legitimate reaction back then. I was like, really? And he told me, yeah, you excel at history, literature, like just straight up that kind of motivation, like that talked to me. At the time, I didn't even believe that I could go for like actually taking serious the idea of going to grad school. And obviously right now I'm working through my bachelor's, but it was because of that casual, super, super casual conversation that I had that I decided that I actually wanted to go beyond and basically stay in school for as long as I can. So attending grad school, pursuing doctorate studies, things like that. So it was that super casual conversation that was like the moment that like kept me going.
yeah, it's interesting because times have changed, and you guys are facing a lot newer things coming your way. Certainly, we have to acknowledge that the cost of living, and some of you have already said that, right? The cost just to live here requires more working, which means more hours dedicated to that, and perhaps less to your studies, whether it's your parents or you yourselves. And it wasn't entirely like that. I mean, I definitely did work, but you could survive off of, not working 2 jobs, or your parents not working 2 jobs back in the day. And my parents worked minimum wage jobs. My mom was at Burger King. She flipped burgers, and my dad was a janitor. So, you could survive, and the stressors are now much more. I want to acknowledge that on your generation, not to mention the other social stressors, primarily when you're younger. You're now no longer in high school, but certainly in high school and middle school now. I'm a parent of a middle schooler and a high school. Some of the pressures from peers and social media stuff and all that. Another level. I'll just want to acknowledge that. But even with all of that, it's interesting that your stories all are similar to my story and the people who I know who were first generation. I have a lot of friends who were first generation. That was my circle. That it sort of took certainly one person for sure, but also probably multiple support systems. Like I talked about the counselor, but I also was in the program called Puente, which we started like in my 10th grade in high school, talking about college, so that the concept was like at least in my brain, and it's something I would think about. And again, there are other programs and other support systems. I'd like you to beyond what you shared with the stories that you just shared right now, what other support systems are in place, and why do they matter? Because some people think that, well, students should just go to school. They should just go to class, and we shouldn't provide. Like one thing that I'll throw out, and I don't know if any of you have noticed that this exists on campus, but we've invested a lot of money from the state into programs to help with the issue of hunger. And so on many college campuses now, you'll find pantries and access to foods, which did not exist before. And it's something we've decided as a state, and I chair the budget on committee on education, finance, and where we spend our dollars in education. And we support those programs because we think they matter. We think they make an impact. That's one example, but there are so many other programs. Can you tell me about the support programs that maybe you've participated in that exist to help first generation students, and why those programs matter? If you just want to pick one, that's fine. If you want to list them off, that's okay too. Let's rotate now. We'll start with Oscar.
Yeah, so the main one for me, honestly, when I first started off just general college here at Southwestern College, was definitely the first year experience program, where I'm actually currently working on. They do have another program called the second year experience program. That's the one that I'm currently working on right now. I would say, honestly, with the other program, I honestly would have been completely lost to it. How I find out was actually kind of a funny story. They actually, basically, how I found out was actually through my sister. She basically also went to Southwestern College and is attending San Francisco State University. But basically, she basically was part of the program back then, but they didn't have the second year experience program when she did it. So when I first started off there, honestly, they helped me out a lot when it comes to like counseling, classes, workshops. That definitely work out the most for me. But also the main thing was prior registration, because like obviously you want to get the classes that you want the schedules that you want. If you're working currently as a full-time student, you also want to have a particular schedule that you want to follow along, and that one as well. And then also because they basically started up the second year experience program, after that I kind of inspired to get that job. It's basically, I started off on my second year here in Southwestern College, and I've been there for almost, I would say, I think 3 years already, to be honest. And yeah, and then
So the first year experience program is the one you took when you first got here.
Yeah,
The second year experience program, you were in that. Are you sharing that you also work in the program?
yeah, I also
So
work
you
with-
are now giving back.
yeah, yeah. Basically, I started off first on the first year, and then I started off in Southwestern College as a first year student, and as a first year generation student as well in the FYE program. And they give me all these great benefits that really they help out, which is prior registration, counseling, priority, and then workshops and events. And then after I completed the first year, I transitioned to second year. Second year is mostly on focusing on your second year when it comes to like transferring and all that sort of stuff. And then after that, on my second semester, I basically started off working there as well.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. And something that people may not be aware of is that transfer rates from community colleges into our UCs and CSUs is unfortunately not where it should be. And so it is important for programs like that so that we can keep people focused. If that's what they want to do, right? If you want to get an associate's, then that's great. You finish at a community college or a certification or whatever. But if you want to do a bachelor's, it's a lot of challenges. You all have expressed them yourselves. So with your stories, you're working, and so it's much harder to graduate when you're working. So you need programs that create the supports to allow you to work, but also allow you to finish your school. So thank you for sharing about that. Do you have a particular programs or a program that you have identified as important support system for you?
Yes. Since we're talking about support system, I have to say not a program, but number one, definitely my parents. But similar to Oscar's story, I also, when I graduated high school and I started the community college, I also joined the first year experience. So that was a very, very big help in basically finding what classes I had to take. I was very disoriented. I didn't know what to do, right? So they helped me very much at that, and also graduating on time. Not that there is a specific time, because everybody goes at their own pace, right? But it did help me not to waste time, I guess you could say.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you made me think of something, because my daughter just entered high school last year, and with her, they go to see their counselors and then they pick out their classes. So like they have someone to help them figure it out. You just reminded me, something I had forgotten from my first year. Once you're in college, you're on your own.
Yes.
And you need to figure out how to sign up and like which classes you need to take in order to graduate. Otherwise, you're taking all these classes and they may not add up to what you need. So sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's like something important that maybe some people don't understand. Universities and colleges don't have a counselor that you're assigned to that you go into and that you have to go pick up your classes so that you can create your schedule. You can take one class, you can take 5, you can take none. It's really up to you. And unless you have the support system to help you figure out what classes to take, you might be wasting a lot of time at community college.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing that.
No, yeah, that's a very good point. And so I was part of the first year experience, and like Oscar, I also work there now. So I'm part of FYE and SYE in general. So it's very nice, especially now that I'm in my second year at UC San Diego. Now I know where to find live resources, even if it's at another institution.
Right.
I know where to find live resources. I know where to go. I know how to ask for help, which is so essential. And when you're a first year college student and you have no idea what to do, it's very helpful to sometimes just step out of your comfort zone and go out and try that. But it's very gratifying for me now that I attend UC San Diego and I graduated from here and I work here to help students. Like I met students who want to go to UC San Diego, and I just went through the process. So it's very gratifying to know that. So I guess for me, like going back to your question, it was most definitely the first year experience, the number one program that helped me the most. And it's very nice to also give something back.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels really, really gratifying. Thank you. Jose?
Just like Diane said, I do have a program, but first I always say my system is, I'm a big believer, and I do say my system was God. Without him, I'm nothing. And that system of him that pushed me and believing that without him, I can do, like, with him, I can do all things. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That system was one of the hugest things for me, because I got baptized my first year coming into college, and that changed my full perspective on life. I came to college, and there was a program called EOPS, and EOPS stands for Extended Opportunity Programs and Services, but that EO and EOPS meant so much to me, because it meant my opportunity to come here is bigger than what I know. And how you guys said that being assigned a counselor, they have there was this first event called EOPS Fall Welcome Back. And I'm thinking, welcome back, like, is it just for students who've been here before? And they said, no, it's for all students. You come, it's your first year to come, you get to meet everybody. I went out just because you can kind of go. And I've met every EOPS counselor there, from supervisor who's no longer here, Ms. Deanna, and then also met Omar. And Omar's the director, Miss Deanna was a supervisor. And I told him, like, yeah, I'm in foster youth, I got adopted. And they connected me to a counselor named Miss Michelle Montano. She went out through her way and found out, like, yeah, you're part of their GSP program, which is our Guardian Scholars program. So that even put me even a bigger opportunity than what I saw from just EOPS. Like, it gets even deeper than that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, okay, so, and she was like, no, like, this is great, because not only do you get resources from EOPS, you get resources from GSP. And I'm like, okay, what are we talking about? Like, resources, like, I get to talk to you all day, or like events, food? And she's like, no, so like, you get one-on-one counseling for an hour, and it's mandated that you get one-on-one counseling for an hour because you're a part of EOPS. And not only you're a part of EOPS, because you're with GSP, you can meet with me whenever you would like. And I was like, oh, okay, so what does that mean? She's like, well, we can make up a SCP. And I was like, SCP, I don't know what none of this stuff means. Like, what are we talking? And she's like, well, SCP stands for Student Educational Plan. I'm like, okay, what is that? And she's like, that's where we can choose your classes. I'm like, okay, so now I got a whole bunch of classes on my paper. What's next? She's like, well, we can make a semester by semester. Okay, what is that? Like, I'm not really familiar with all these, like, lingos and terms that counselors use. And she was like, well, we basically gonna look at your major, and we're gonna plan it out. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna take these classes, and if you mess up, we can rearrange. But this is gonna be the track you're on. And EOPS was one of the most beneficial programs I ever learned about. Like, I honestly feel like if EOPS can be open to everyone, there should be no reason why it's not.
Yeah.
But EOPS does have its limits and regulations for certain students, which is you receive a Cal Grant A and B, and that's all through financial aid. So you have to receive a financial aid. Yeah, that system of EOPS was huge because like how you guys used to work for first year experience. Not even after my first semester, they offered me a job working for EOPS. And so I was like, oh man, like, so not only do I get to learn what this program is, I get to dive deeper into what this program does for me. And I learned that we have even bigger opportunities. So like lending textbooks. So like if I don't have to pay for textbooks, we got it here in our shelf and people can come lend them. And they're like, well, no, because EOPS offers, it's a $400 textbook supply. So they give me free $400 to go and pay for my textbooks. And then they're like, yeah, and then you get $300 supply credit. I'm like, so you telling me I get $400 to textbooks I need to buy and then $300 to go get whatever I need? They're like, yeah, because we want to set you up for success. That took a load off of me financially because now I don't got to pay for nothing. Like EOPS just was like, here, like, and I was like, so what do I got to do? They said, you got to be a student. And I was like, cool.
And keep your grades up.
And keep your grades up. Yeah, maintain a 2.0 GPA and go to class. And like, basically they were saying, here's the blueprint, here's the structure, and we mess up, okay, cool, we can always fix it, but there should be no reason that you're not graduating while you're here. And it's been such an amazing experience from that system of EOPS itself, because they gave me the opportunity to know that there are people out there with resources that can help me succeed. So that was huge.
And there's a mutual accountability, right, from you and from them. And
yes, yeah, that accountability is, hey, you first of all, you got to meet with a counselor. So you get in there, you got to meet with a counselor, make up a SEP, a semester by semester plan, and then you maintain your grades. Second, then you have to meet with them twice. And that's basically check-in. How you doing? Do we need to give you tutoring services? Do we need to get you a math tutor with science tutor? Any tutor services, or what can we do on our end to benefit you? And I was like, oh, okay. And then the third counseling appointment is a wrap-up. It's an overall wrap-up, getting you ready for the spring semester. And that's literally all you have to do is just maintain your grades. But to get in, receive financial aid and the Cal Grant A and B. So there's limits to getting in there, but once you're in, it's like you're in. And then like if you're eligible, like you got to take that step, because there's so much money out there for you to succeed. Like there's no reason for you not to succeed in that area.
Well, thank you, Jose. Thank you all for sharing. I'm really looking forward, because I've lived that journey, and I've had a lot of friends who have lived the journey as to what you'll be doing. All of you, I think you'll be doing amazing things. You are already giving back, all of you, in the programs that you said were really important for you to be successful as a first generation student. So you live what it takes, and now you've seen how you could provide that same skills and the same support for other students. And that only means no matter what you all do in life, you're probably going to be thinking about this experience as a first gen student in what you do, whether it's if you become a successful business person, how do you get involved and engage in the community, or you stay in the field of education, or if you happen to do something like me, which is get into politics and advocacy, and then go back and give back to these types of programs, because they're, as you were saying, they're very time intensive. It requires a lot of focus. It requires a lot of people to support students like you, and it's for a reason. It's because we have research, scientifically data proven that students who are first generation have much bigger struggles than those who are not. And so if we believe in an education system where students like you, which still we have, so many of our students are first generation still in California, if we want that to be a successful system, we've got to invest in programs like the ones that you just talked about, whether it's EOPS, first year programs, and many other programs that are out there that we didn't get a chance to talk to about today. But you're just great examples of why all this work matters, why our investments for taxpayers, because this is all funded by taxpayer money, why it matters, because you are a success story today, and you will be a success in the future. And I can't wait to hear what you all are doing. So I want to thank you for coming, for sharing your story. Please continue to do so. I think I've gotten more comfortable with sharing my first generation story as time has progressed. It's impactful. You inspire, you will inspire people. You already are, and it's a wonderful thing because we need, especially these days, a lot of hope. Young people always have hope. That's what's driven us to, get past those difficult moments in our society and in our world. And you are examples of that. So I just want to thank you for sharing your story, for being good examples, and for being with us here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now's a good time for a short break. Stick around. There's more ahead with David Alvarez on Dreaming Big, Working Hard.
I want to welcome Dr. Mark Sanchez, president of the Southwestern College Community College here in San Diego. Really great to have you here. Thank you for being part of the forum today. Let me first ask you, as an educator, what does being in a forum like this mean to you? Why does this matter to you?
Yeah, thank you, Assemblymember Alvarez, and first and foremost, kudos on putting together just an amazing event today. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. As the superintendent president of the Southwestern Community College District, we're the only institution of higher education in the South County. Being born and raised in San Diego, Barrio Logan specifically, have had a long history of understanding what this binational region means to both of our communities on both sides of the border. And so being here today, it's really, really important because it gives us an opportunity to look at how we're managing the talent pipeline or the people and how we can prepare them for the opportunities, not only now, but into the future. The workforce is evolving rapidly. And so we want to make sure as an institution of higher education that we're being responsive, but we're also providing those real opportunities to people who seek higher education and the opportunities we provide at
So
Southwestern.
you had a chance to listen to a couple of panels. We still have some going on as we speak. You've done already some work on this binational front. First, let me ask you about what work have you done on the binational front? And then I want to ask you about what you've heard today that maybe you're potentially interested in pursuing and intrigued by what you've heard. So what kind of work are you doing today?
No,
on the binational front?
fantastic. And, over the last 3 years specifically, we've signed memorandums of understanding with CETIS University, which is just on the other side of the border in Tijuana. They're WASC accredited, Western Association of Schools and Colleges accredited. So we've created partnerships with them where we've articulated our lower division, our 2-year coursework from the community college to their international business degree, leading directly to a baccalaureate degree from CETIS. And so we've aligned that coursework. There's no wasted courses in that sequence. We've also done work with UABC, the Autonomous University of Baja California, also looking to do the same things where we can articulate our 2-year coursework to their 4-year degree programs.
So what does that mean to a student? You're through Southwestern College taking these courses, which count just as much as here as they do there. You get a degree from the Mexican institution, or tell me, to a student, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. So and I think it's right on time as more of our students who are U.S. citizens are moving to Tijuana for a simple fact that the cost of housing, it's more affordable. But if it's not only for the U.S. students, for the true Mexican students as well, what the program means to them is they get to do a 2-year degree, an Associate of Arts, and we can, through AB 91, charge them the in-state tuition rate. So they would be paying a resident tuition rate, not an international student fee. So it's affordable. So therefore, you're removing the high cost of an education. And those 2-year degree programs align directly with the university programs where the outcome will be a bachelor's degree. And one of the keys for that is that then it gets recognized by the workforce on both sides of the border, those same credentials, so that the student can immediately go to work in an occupation that pays them a livable wage on both sides of the border.
And why that matters is because, as you mentioned, we have a workforce now that is much more globalized, much more, people don't stay in the same place forever, right? And so I think what fascinates me about that work is that you're getting to learn a different culture. You get a degree that's as valid here as it is in Mexico in the case of this program you have with CETIS. Why do you think that matters today more than ever? You do workforce preparation, really, is what our community colleges sort of really feel that. You prepare them either to enter the workforce or to enter a degree program, a bachelor's degree program that will get them ready to enter the workforce. Why does a model like this make sense? Why would we spend time um, going through the bureaucratic hurdles of partnering with institutions that are on the Mexican side of the border?
Yeah, you said it. I mean, and I think since we've emerged from the pandemic, it even became more prominent. But we truly are in a global economy, and so the more we can prepare our students for those types of experiences, especially when you have a rich binational community just on the other side of the border of San Diego, um, and understanding the long history in which programs like CETIS University and the Autonomous University of California, UABC, they have a long history of sending their students to Spain for international learning opportunities. And those students come back with a richness of understanding of how the workforce works in other parts of the world. So when we can create these opportunities, it's in addition to, it's not in lieu of, we're just creating a broader scope of understanding for our students, not only giving them the credentials to be competitive in the workforce, but also understanding culture and community. And you really give people the options to be able to experience anywhere in the world and take their skills anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
there's some things that you capture in a degree and a diploma, and some skills that are never captured in a degree in your title that you receive. But these experiences can provide to students.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me ask you. So you're a community college system,
Mhm.
but in San Diego anyway, in South County, you're the leading institution of higher education for families that live in that part of California and that part of San Diego. What are some of the things I've talked about this with a few folks? We've got to change the model of education just because we've got to adapt. The world is changing. We haven't changed as quickly. We have the same system of education that we've had essentially for over 60 years now. We're looking to do things differently. You're definitely innovating down at Southwestern Community College. What's one space perhaps that you'd like to innovate and do things a little bit differently? This is a big deal. International studies is a big deal. That's not something community college students often have the opportunity to do. You're providing that, which is great. Certainly your location makes that ideal. But what other ways are you looking to innovate, whether it's on the binational front or just from an education standpoint?
Yeah. And you said it, really the basis for how higher ed operates in California was really conceptualized through the California Master Plan for Education, which was written in the 1960s. And a lot has changed
Mhm.
since then. And so the way that we're innovating is really by building on-time programming that is supporting our workforce and industry needs. I'll give you an example. They just built the beautiful Gaylord Resort and Convention Center in Chula Vista. Have a very good relationship with Scott Siebert, who's the executive manager. It's a Marriott property. And we started planning long before the opening of the Resort and Convention Center because he was going to need culinary graduates. He was going to need fire science graduates. So we created the pathway in the pipeline for our students to be able to get their credentials in those programs and meet a workforce need and be able to live and work in their own community, which has not always been the standard. For people that have worked in those industries for a long time, they've had to commute to central San Diego or even North County to get those jobs. But now they're able to work in their own community, and Southwestern provides the credentials and certificates for those workforce opportunities. In Tijuana, one of the pieces that we've been working really intentionally on is a lot of the universities in Tijuana don't have bioengineering degrees. So our faculty have been working with the faculty, particularly at CETIS, to build a seamless bioengineering degree that would take our 2-year degree programs and lead right to their 4-year program, because there's a huge need for bioengineers in Tijuana and Baja California. So those are just a couple of examples of how we built the programming to be responsive to our community.
So those are really well integrated systems and programs, obviously, which require some dedication and time. So congratulations and kudos to you and your team for doing that. What about I don't want to say the simpler, but maybe the easier types of programs like student exchanges? I've said it before. People have heard me. One of the biggest regrets I had was not doing a study abroad program. I think it's one of the most valuable things people can do at that time of your life when you're in college. Community college students, are those opportunities out there? Do you see the conversations today maybe leading to that? What do you think about the topic of either student exchanges or study abroad programs for community college students in particular?
Yeah, there's definitely opportunities out there. And as a matter of fact, for the past 2 summers, our students have participated in an international study program at CETIS University, which is for our students that live in San Diego and Chula Vista specifically, but have had the opportunity to have an immersion program over the summer. We've done that. This is the second summer in a row that we've done this programming. And certainly our goal is to try to expand that programming for our students, because you're getting at a historical element where our students have never looked at the Baja universities as an opportunity, or at least it's been a small number that have looked at the Baja universities as a pathway to their career opportunities. And so we definitely want to expand that. The road is both ways in terms of our partnerships. So really, as more students start to learn about these opportunities, the more we'll grow these programs into the future.
So we're lucky that at today's forum, we've got people from the entire state of California, and seems like virtually the entire country of Mexico. A lot of opportunities there. Sometimes bureaucracies and systems get in the way of partnership. So why is this convening today, this forum, useful or significant or important to you?
Yeah, I really think it's the theme of the day. So it's moving from dialogue to action. And we've at Southwestern have been having dialogue, but have actually put some practical steps into place with our partners from Tijuana. It's important to us, but I think it's important to our partners in Tijuana, Baja California as well, that they actually see action steps in terms of our relationships and our partnerships. And when we do that, both of our communities win. And oftentimes I consider it one community that's blurred by an international border, but our communities win when we do this work together. And so it's very, very important to come up with outcomes that deliver for our communities. And so being here today with all of our partners shows that commitment, shows that we're ready to take additional action steps to enhance our programming. And when we do this, the entire region will win.
Well, again, want to thank you for being here, for all that you've done already to elevate this as an important topic, not only in words, but actually in actions, with programs that are happening in communities already at your college in Tijuana. And any sort of parting words, final words you'd like to share about perhaps what this future has in store for Southwestern Community College?
Yeah, we certainly want to be the incubator to a larger university now initiative in the Millennia East Chula Vista property. The programming that we're building with San Diego State, UCSD, CSU San Marcos, National University, Point Loma Nazarene University, Arizona State University, and soon the University of Southern California will serve as that pathway to occupy that larger university now a property, which is going to give students in the South County a whole listing of opportunities and programs and degrees that they'll have access to in their own communities, as well as hopefully the opportunity to bring over some of our Baja universities to be able to offer courses there as well. So I think we're really close.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really looking forward to that project coming to fruition. And Southwestern will be a part of it, not only through our presence, but also through building our own baccalaureate degrees that will create opportunities where those opportunities exist for Southwestern to be able to provide that.
Well, again, thank you. Congratulations on everything you've done.
Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your leadership, Assembly member. Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for following us on all the social media platforms at Alvarez SD, for listening to our podcast, for watching us on the YouTube channel. We're having conversations about things that hopefully matter to you, certainly that matter to what I'm seeing out in the community. And so we're looking to your comments, to your subscriptions, certainly to our channels and our feeds, but also to your ideas on what conversations we should be having with others that are of interest. So please, thank you for joining our Dream Big, Work Hard podcast. I'm David Alvarez. Again, find me at Alvarez SD. Please subscribe. And thanks again for being here.
Dreaming Big, Working Hard is hosted by California Assemblymember David Alvarez. Follow at Alvarez on Instagram for more updates and behind-the-scenes content. To learn more or get involved, visit davidalvarez.com. This podcast has been recorded in San Diego, California, and proudly produced by OLAS Media, an IVC media company.